You can't sleep because you don't have any information. They're not giving you no hope, you know. And all I just want her to do is come home.
Hey y'all, it's T Lee, and I'm about to shut y'all mouth wide open. So, I want to talk about a case that I've been following since September 21st, 2023. Um, this case is kind of strange and it's scary and eerie. This young lady that you see on the screen, 21-year-old DeAndrea Ford, was last seen September 21st, 2023. She's missing. She has a 4-year-old son. She's had a lot of things happen in her life. She is just trying to make money, make ends meet for the betterment of her life, no matter what her circumstances or her career path was. The next four faces you're going to see on this screen is tied to this disappearance in many ways than one. It's pretty sad that the family has to search for their loved one high and low. Um, I just hope she's found and she comes on home in one piece to reset her life, tell her story, and make a difference in others' lives. Because I can see this story in Case doing that. So I hope she's brought home safely. But I'm gonna play a couple clips and then I'm gonna dive into the story so that you get a better understanding. And then I want to know what you think. So stay tuned.
So the last time that someone saw 21-year-old DeAndrea Ford was right outside of the Divas Bikini Sports Bar and Grill. And they've been calling and texting her, but no response yet. And the family says they will keep doing that until she either answers or they find out where she is. She was last seen on camera in front of the Divas Bikini Sports Bar off of the East Freeway near Federal Road. Her uncle, Kevin Carrier, says she had been working there as a dancer for only a few weeks. Carrier saw the bar surveillance video himself and says it shows on September 21st around 1 a.m. DeAndrea gets in the passenger seat of a white van outside the bar with a customer. They sit there for a little over an hour. She could be seen in the front seat.
After that, they drive off in a direction in which the club doesn't have cameras, and that's it.
A friend received a call from DeAndrea around 2 a.m., but they were asleep and missed it. Calls to her remain unanswered. Her uncle says before she got in the van with the customer, that same man was seen talking to another staff member inside the bar for about 20 minutes, and they seemed to know each other. The family says that interaction brings about questions.
Why is the information on the girl so scarce to come about from the club? Why is someone that this guy is interacting with, along with one of your waitresses, someone that you don't know?
All right, so the gentleman that you see here on the screen is Otis Parker. He's a 35-year-old wannabe pimp from Louisiana, and he frequents back and forth from Louisiana to Houston, Texas with his girls. So he's a wannabe pimp. He hangs around young ladies and he calls himself pimping them out. So apparently, he was on his way to Houston, Texas to take the girls to a job, and they were leaving Baton Rouge. So they get there. His first girl is Quintiana Taylor. So Quintiana Taylor has a friend that she brought in, DeAndrea Ford, as well as another friend, Mariah Green. Now, Quintiana is also friends with Mr. Jamal Brown. So apparently they had some type of relationship at one point. Jamal Brown bought in Jarrell Wheeler, who's 21. He is a detention officer with the Harris County, like corrections or jail. So he's a detention officer who came up with the bright idea that he's now about to start robbing pimps and stealing their money. So Miss Quintiana Taylor was texting Mr. Jamal Brown, letting him know, like, hey, I'm trying to set this play up. This man has $1,500. Get that up off him. So Mr. Brown got with Mr. Wheeler and they came up with the bright idea that they were going to ambush Mr. Otis Parker. So Jamal Brown and Jarrell Wheeler were going to meet them in an apartment complex to rob him from the $1,500. So this all transpired and took place at 5901 Selinsky Road around 4 to 4:30 a.m. in the morning. Now, in the passenger front seat was Miss DeAndrea Ford. She did not know what was going on, and she did not know that her friend was conspiring to rob Mr. Parker, their fake pimp. So everybody runs from the scene when it happened. Um, Initially, the officers thought it was a car crash, but no, found out that he was red rum. So Miss Ford stayed on the scene because she had no idea what transpired, what happened. Her friend didn't tell her. She stayed on the scene, and so now she's a witness. So, and she's a victim. So she cooperated. She provided them with information. The detectives found through text messages and communications and cell towers and all that that Miss Quintiana Taylor was the backdoor queen in this matter. So they moved fairly quickly. They didn't do it pretty too smart because the officers moved really fast, and they arrested Jarrell Wheeler, 21, the detention officer, Jamal Brown, aka Bam, which is Quintiana Taylor's friend or ex-boyfriend or somebody she was talking to, and 20-year-old Mariah Green. Quick. They are all arrested and they are all charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and capital murder. During the time they were looking for the suspects, Mr. Jamal Brown was red run by law enforcement. So he is not sitting in the Harris County Jail. He was executed by law enforcement during the manhunt. Now, the officers did not protect Miss DeAndrea Ford, if you ask me. She didn't have any money. She's already a dancer. Her funds are limited. She has a 4-year-old son, and to be quite honest, she's not that bright. And I only say that she wasn't that bright is because she failed to really protect herself, and she failed to hold law enforcement accountable and have them protect her. That is an option. Now, I don't know what her options were, but I know that when you stand up for yourself, you are able to get things done. There are victim assistance programs in every state with every law enforcement agency, statewide, federal level, all around the board. So I do think with this being a capital red rum case, she definitely was offered witness protection or some type of protection to help her. But since she's used to living her life every day on the edge, taking chances, because regardless if this case happened or not, being an exotic dancer is taking a chance each and every day, regardless of how you feel about it. So that's why I say she's not that bright. They should have been protecting her, and she should have made sure that it was happening and enforced. She has a 4-year-old. He should have been her number one thought, as well as her family. So that's why I say she's not that bright. Now, back to Mr. Jarrell Wheeler. If he is involved in this case, now everything that I'm stating in this video is all alleged. I do not know what happened. I was not there. I am not a witness or privy to the situation. But I do know that he sent a text message prior to all the remaining suspects being apprehended. In one of the phones, there was a message from Mr. Wheeler that indicated that Mrs. DeAndrea Ford is not safe in Houston. So that gives me the indication that she should not have been there. She knew, though, that by cooperating and becoming a witness and a victim, that there was going to possibly and potentially be some type of backfire or retaliation. I mean, I'm not sure as to why she wouldn't have known that, but you never know. They are very young. This is probably the first time she's experienced something like this, but that's just how the streets work. The streets are not kind to you. They are not your friends. They are not. They don't have the best interest at heart. So this is just one of those situations. Um, but hey, we live and we learn, right? This is the world that we live in. We have to take our cards as they're being dealt, but at the same time, we have to be aware of our surroundings and put ourselves in situations that are not detrimental to ourselves, our families, our children, and things like that. So, no matter how old you are, being wise, reading the room, and understanding your surroundings is important. That is something that, I mean, it's definitely taught, but it should come to you as a first nature type of thing. For me, it did, and I can only speak for me. Not everyone has the ability to do those things, obviously. So, because it's not a gift. I mean, literally, this is the world we live in. Come on. If you're living in the fast lane, that is your number one thing. You need to trust yourself first and then trust the process later with the streets. So, I really think she was naive in that aspect. And I really hope she's brought back home to her family, safe, sound, and in one piece because the streets is not kind. The streets is not kind. So we can only hope for that outcome. And I just pray for her family, and I pray she's brought back home.
Let her come home to her family and her son. Just don't continue trying to hold her, or if you making her do anything, out the way or whatever, just let her go.